Hello, so this is Fundamentals of Case Management Practice, Chapter 16, Social Histories and Assessment Forms. What is social history? A social history is a description and history of the presenting problem, the problem that brought the client into the agency, background information on the client's life, the worker's impression and recommendations. Layout of the social history. Presenting problem. Describe the history of the presenting problem. Background information, so family of origin, birth and childhood, marriages and significant relationships, current living arrangements, education, military service, employment history, medical history, legal history, social and recreational interest, religious activities, client successes and strengths, client resources, your assessment, your impressions, and your recommendations. How to ask what you need to know. It is sometimes difficult for clients to open up to a stranger. Use open questions to soften the interview. All closed questions can sound like grilling. You will use a few closed questions to get information that you need. Example, how many days a week do you work? Ask questions with respect to a genuine interest in the client. Tell me about the work you do. Writing the first sentence. The first sentence of your presenting problem section is the first sentence of your impressions and recommendations section as well. Put as much information in the first section as possible so that people can quickly form an impression. Example, Alex is an unemployed male, divorced father of 2 teenage girls, and currently referred to for issues regarding use of alcohol and job-related difficulties. Client appraisal. Always ask clients what they are seeking. Always ask clients for their assessment of the problem. Example, tell me a little bit more about what you see as the main problem. Capturing details. Refrain from using vague descriptions or general information. Make the information you put into the social history specific. Look at the history you wrote to see where you would have questions if you were reading it for the first time. Example, poor example is Alice is divorced. Better example, Alice was married in 1992 and was divorced in 2008, following her husband's incarceration for armed robbery. Social histories in other settings. When agencies have limited funding to serve the client, only a short amount of time, a brief social history is necessary. A brief social history has 3 parts: presenting problem, background to the presenting problem, and your impressions and recommendations. Headings in the brief social history section should be presenting problem, describe why the client is here, background to the presenting problem, give additional information on the presenting problem, the history of it, and some relevant background information on your client, impressions and recommendations, write your thoughts about the client and what the client needs. Writing impression and recommendation. First sentence. Begin with the same comprehensive sentence you used in your open social history. So, for example, Marie is a 13-year-old girl living with her single mother and currently addicted to crack. The next 2 or 3 sentences. Write 2 or 3 sentences to describe the client's situation. Example, she is currently not attending school and her mother indicates she cannot manage her at present. The girl's father is not in the picture, and mother works 2 jobs to support the daughter and herself. Writing impressions. Next, state your impressions. Write about these areas if they are relevant. Functioning effect, vegetative functions, insight, motivation to change, motivation to accept help. For example, Marie is somewhat guarded with a flat effect. She shows some insight into her problem and indicated some motivation to change the situation both at home and at school. Writing recommendations. Finally, write your recommendation and say what they are for. Recommend 3 weeks intensive inpatient treatment for detox, followed by NA meetings, 90 meetings for 90 days, for support in remaining clean, family and individual counseling to develop better family relationships, and Marie's self-esteem. Recommend Marie's return to school at the end of the inpatient treatment to maintain her academic achievement. Other ways to take social histories, assessment forms. These are used when agencies need a lot of detailed information. The form is an outline. of what is important. You need to stop and ask open questions as you go through the form. Talk with the client in addition to asking the questions. Taking social histories on the computer. Computers are used so that the history does not have to be typed after you have written it. It is essential that you have enough space to write what is important and that you be able to see and fully engage the client. Social histories in the home. Advantages. You can see the setting in which the person functions. Clients may feel more relaxed in a familiar setting. Drawbacks. Confidentiality can be compromised and there can be distractions. Notes on assembling good histories. Put category headings on the same page as the information that follows the headings. Bold all of your subheadings. Staple the pages of the history together. All social histories must be typed. Social histories should be placed in the same location in every chart or record. Be sure the history indicates taken by or prepared by with your name and credentials. Don't state as fact things the client told you, but do not know firsthand. Say according to the client or the client stated. So that's it for this chapter. Thanks for listening.